Hi, my name is Adam Cole, and I'm a personal finance teacher in Needham, Massachusetts. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite resources, Finding an Apartment. Students really like this resource because they can really see themselves doing it in the near future, and they get really excited looking at the different choices. Here's where we can find it. Under Curriculum and Units, it'll be under the Budgeting unit. Then, the easiest place to find it is right on the sidebar under the Activities. We'll click on View More, and then Find an Apartment. To take you through it, there's first a video from a real estate agent that talks about some tips for finding an apartment, and students will write down the tips that they think are most useful. Then there's an area about figuring out how much students can afford. So it helps them think about their college major, and then it recommends a 25 to 30% of their salary on housing. Okay. If you follow the link, you'll find some information on salaries, and you can decide if you want them to get it on the 25%, 25th percentile, or on the low end for how much they can have to spend. There's also a portion on selecting a city to live in, and in that, students can take a look at some different cities and comparing between them. I focus in on this main part here, which is following one of the links to find some apartments, and then comparing the apartments based on rent, utilities, amenities, and things like that. Once you have the 3 apartments, you'll choose one and justify why you chose that one, and then reflect on the process. I've been teaching personal finance for 6 years, and I started an assignment that was pretty similar to this before discovering NGPF. So I've made a few modifications to this, and especially for timing. Depending on the day, I have 90 minutes, 70 minutes, or 50 minutes. So I usually try and do this entire activity in 50 minutes, and I'll skip out on the part where they determine how much they have to afford, and I'll just assign that to them. Another modification I'll make is I'll ask some personal questions about will they expect to have a car? Is it important for them to have a bathroom for their own, or will they share it? How about dishwasher and laundry? And then for how much they can afford, I picked 6 employers around Boston and their location, and then based on that employer, I gave them a salary that they could afford. So if they were working at Google, they can afford $1,200 a month for a 1-bedroom or studio, and then I figured they would have some roommates with similar income, and so I doubled it for a 2-bedroom and a little bit less for a 3-bedroom. Students will roll a die to figure out where they're working, and then if somebody ends up working at Harvard, what they'll find is there really aren't that many studios around Boston that will enable them to have to pay less than $900 a month. And so they'll always be looking for a 2-bedroom or more. I also have them roll for if they'll have a pet and a car. And then some other things I added to it is figuring out the cost of a mass transit pass and a Zipcar subscription. I also have them look up Google Maps and find a route from their apartment to work. I also have them find the location of the nearest grocery store and laundromat. And I have them explore area vibes and crime reports for some more information about the area that they're living. After that, they pick out they justify their apartment, and then they reflect on the process. So just a quick glance at when a student work, they've got the link, and then they've got the picture of their mass transit and how they get from one place to the next. Okay, I think it's a really great activity, and one way that I think is good to follow up on is the NGPF project on budgeting with roommates. So now that they've picked out an apartment, they'll have the possibility of deciding with their roommates about who's going to pay what for which room, and it's a really engaging activity for a few days. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy it.